Good morning.
Good morning.
I have so missed being up here and seeing you. I see new faces. Thank you, Elizabeth, for that beautiful prayer and lighting of the candles. I so love that. Thank you for that wonderful song. And happy solstice to you all. Happy Hanukkah to you all, and Merry Christmas. I've always loved this time of year. I love the holidays, and when I've looked at this time from the perspective of being a minister, I recognize that theme of light, that theme of the miracle of that light that's always present. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he said, I can't wait till the 21st because I want to see the light come back.
Yes.
And I thought, well, the solstice really is about the darkness. And what I want to talk to you about today is dwelling with that darkness. Really allowing ourselves to be with what's here no matter what. Because I notice how quickly all of us as people and us in this community, we want to get to the light, don't we? It's like at Christmas time, we want to get to the gifts. I want my presents. We do our prayers, our treatments. I want to get to my demonstration. I want the party. I want the celebration of life. And yet, in the midst of life, always, there is just life going on. In the midst of the solstice, the sun's not missing. It's not lacking. That light that Elizabeth spoke of and prayed about this morning, that eternal flame, that flame of life itself, doesn't go away. It doesn't ever dim. And as really known when you think about the solstice, it's not the sun that disappears. It's us that turns our back on the light, is it not? We're what shifts to see the darkness. So we want to really look at meeting the darkness, meeting the places in our lives that we want to run from, that we want to get away from, that we want to change. Some of you know that on October 7th, I was coming home from a walk, and I poetically was walking through our rural cemetery when I wouldn't call it a spill, I fell over and shattered the head of my humerus. For those of you who don't know, that's my shoulder. That's some friends said, I thought it was your leg that you had broken. I shattered the head of my humerus, and the first thing that really struck me was the different layers of awareness and consciousness that were going on in the midst of this incredibly off-the-charts pain. For any of you who have broken a bone, breaking a bone does not fit in the scale of 0 to 10. And so I'm laying in the dirt at a cemetery with tombstones around me. And my thought is, I'm here. They might as well throw dirt on top of me now. And I was aware that I was having this thought laying on the ground. I turned and looked at the volunteer watering some plants across from me and was relieved that she didn't see me hit the ground. How many of you have that experience? You stumble in life and you just hope that it's not witnessed by anybody. God help us. We're seen messing up in life. I was aware of this delusional thought of, it's okay, it's nothing. I felt my shoulder to see if it was dislocated, hoping that it wasn't because I knew I couldn't get it back in by myself, and I just wanted to go about my merry way and have this be nothing. And somehow I got myself up off the ground. I don't know how, because I don't even remember that part, because this is my dominant arm, and it was not only not functional, but it was in searing pain. And I walked down to the bench I had been headed to, and my friend Catherine, who, bless her sweet heart, brought me up here and has been taking care of me for 7+ weeks with her partner. I sat down on the bench because I just needed to regroup, and that's where I want to hang out when I go to the cemetery anyway. I was getting to my destination, and for some reason I looked at my phone, even though I knew I wasn't going to call for help. I was clear on that. And I saw a call in from a friend of mine who I knew was having a really hard time. I talked to him a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and I knew there was real challenges. And I thought, well, I'll call him back to see if he needs some support. Sitting there holding my arm that's shattered. And the first thing he said to me when he answered the phone was, "Ruth, can you take me back to the garden?" Now, the garden was a word that we have coined together in his understanding and experience of what it feels like to come home. Do you know that experience? That coming home to self, that coming home to that flame of pure being that always lives within us. He was in this emotional crisis, and he knew that he was lost in this emotional crisis. And the good news is he knew there was something else going on. And so I just talked to him. It didn't take a long time to bring him back to himself in that moment. And then I shared with him what was going on with me, amused by the fact that all these things could be happening simultaneously. Here was my friend living his life in another state, and here I am sitting in the cemetery, and I've got this broken bone, and I'm sitting around in these mossy trees in this dappled light of our rural cemetery. And all of it was there. What I was recognizing is that consciousness, that awareness, that experiences all this. That experiences the dark and the light, that knows that eternal flame of life never is missing. And so this time of year, we celebrate it in so many ways. We celebrate it with the solstice. That turning of light that naturally happens because that's the nature of life. We celebrate it as that miracle of light, of the oil lasting until the new production of the oil could be created, as the Jewish people were rededicating their temple that had been desecrated. And then in the story of the birth of Jesus, of that long journey and what we never hear about, of the travails of this woman traveling for miles and miles and giving birth. We skip over that part because we want to get to the baby. We want to get to the Christ awareness. And so what I want to talk about is being with that journey as it's unfolding. Recognizing that even in the destruction, even in the pain and the sorrow, there is that pure light in which we live. That light that lives within us. This is not what we teach here. That the infinite is always present, and it's wholly present. It's not missing, it's not lacking. It doesn't need to be fixed and improved. I got myself home, and I got somebody to come take me because as delusional as I was walking home, of, oh, it'll be okay, I'm just going to put some ice on it. I knew that something dire had happened. In fact, that dire is the word that the surgeon used. This is a dire condition, he said. I'm like, I don't really need to hear that. He said, this is the worst bone you could break. And I thought, I don't need to hear this. And I was really aware of the things I would hook in my brain. I had this thought of regretting. Do you have that thought of regretting? I wish this hadn't happened. I wish I hadn't done that or said that. I wish I hadn't gone to this place. And I thought, not useful. There was this realization, and I'm pretty sure, or there's this recollection, that it was an actually uprising of a voice. And it said, this is your life. I had a thought of incrimination. Like, oh, I must not be doing well if this is my life. But there was a deeper realization that life itself, and that I truly am, isn't missing. That the life, the eternal light is not broken and dark right now. That is the message of the season. Is recognizing in the midst of the darkness, in the midst of the pain, in the midst of our conditions, there's that's not having a problem. And and it all is included. Every part of our lives is a part of the creation. I've said here before, the physicists talk about life creating together. And we kind of know this if we really stop and inquire within, that everything's made of and unfolding through the one intelligence, the one source. So nothing and no one can ever be outside, including a moment of a broken bone, a broken heart. Life shattered around us. And so to just turn and meet it. The poet Rumi spoke of embracing, drawing near, holding the wound. Because that mended my bone, I did nothing unto myself. Is that's unfolding through life. As Eileen said, she says every week she's up here, we're shifting our thinking. We're becoming aware of that our thoughts are wanting to do. But when I come in alignment with truth, when I come in alignment with that wholeness of life, then life can express in a new way through me. It doesn't miraculously fix everything, but it keeps us present. And so when I had that realization of this is your life, I really started becoming aware of when my mind was trying to pull me out, and you recognize your mind pulling you down that river of suffering. I felt the regret. I could hear the stories, the fear in my mind of how am I going to do this? How is this going to get handled? How long is this going to take? Am I going to get through this? With each awareness, I just came close to the nowness, the presence of life right here. It's what helped me survive this excruciating pain. For 2 weeks, I was at home taking Tylenol because they told me I was too old to take narcotics. I'm like, I'm old enough that I should be taking narcotics. And so it was only that presence of mind, that work of bringing myself to the center right here and recognizing that source that allowed me to bear the unbearable. Because we have unbearable experiences, don't we, in our personal lives, in our hearts, in our communities, and in our world. Unbearable, unfathomable things happening. Fear and doubts and worries. Our wanting things to go our way. Our sense of, as a friend of mine said the other day, rightness. She's in battle with a son. This is her son that she loves, but they don't speak to each other. And she said something untoward to him. And she hears from her daughter that it hurt her feelings. And I said, what keeps you from just calling and apologizing? And she said, I don't want to not be right. We are being invited in the spiritual understanding to recognize that holds us and abides through us and expresses beyond what we know and what we're knowing and doing. Like I said, I did nothing to fix this. I took the actions. I did my exercises. Catherine wouldn't let me not do my exercises every day. I took the steps I had to take. But then I knew that it was life itself that was going to support me and walk me through. We're just recognizing, we're celebrating, we're honoring that bigger light of life. I heard a meme, it caught my attention because my brother lives in Bozeman. My skinny little brother who hates cold lives in Bozeman, Montana. And I saw this meme that said, if you can't find joy in the snow, you'll have less joy in your life, but you'll have the same amount of snow. And I thought, those are words to live by. If you can't find your peace, if you can't surrender into the moment, no matter what's happening, You'll suffer that. You won't have the joy, the peace. You won't have that openness of being. But you'll still have life's conditions going on. We're not really here called to fix life. We're here to shift our own conscious awareness in alignment with that is our source. It's always our source, and it is always right here. And we're just coming home to that. As Ernest Holmes says, prayer is that walking ourselves back to our center. Prayer is that speaking truth in the face of the conditions. I saw a woman the other day, a revolutionary advocate for peace, standing in the face of someone who was speaking hatred, someone who was doing harm and wishing harm upon people. And she stood there. She didn't yell. She didn't fight. She didn't argue. She didn't blame. She just spoke words of love and goodness. She spoke words of justice for all people. Ernest Holmes, our founder, invites us to be that stand in life, to open ourselves to that which is that greater knowing, and then be that and listen from that. Take our actions or speak our words from that awareness of that which is unfolding as life. I've been thinking about the Gospel of St. Thomas. And those words, I'm sure most of you or a lot of you know of, if you bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will save you. If you don't bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will destroy you. Now, mostly when I hear that, I hear it in the context of you have to bring your gift, you have to bring your light, you have to bring your love. But I've been looking at it and thinking, maybe what it is that we need to bring forth, not out into the world, but in our conscious awareness, are our shadows, are those things that we don't want to acknowledge, our regrets, our shame, our anger, our hurt, our greed, our self-righteousness. We don't want to acknowledge. And so if we listen from that perspective, really what it's saying is bring it into the light of awareness. It's not the truth of who you are. It doesn't really have a power unless we identify with it and listen to it and follow it. Bring it forth and it will save you. Because what it does is open you up to what is always here, which is the eternal light and flame and love that we are. When I was thinking about this talk, I was thinking about those words of Leonard Cohen that I hear so much now out in our community of there's a crack in everything, and it's where the light gets through. And we like that idea of the light. We don't like that idea of the crack. But it's really inviting us to recognize that all the things that are going on in our life right now, that is life opening us. That is life shining through us. That is life informing us and calling us to simply recognize the greater truth in the midst of everything. There's a lot of turmoil in our world right now. And it's calling us to do something that we've never really done, which is be that greater expression of peace and love and not divisiveness and separation. Not taking sides, but being that greater embracing, that spaciousness that recognizes and holds all things. And so I want to invite you to that awareness this morning, to stay with that seems painful and hard, that stirs up all these feelings and these thoughts and these divisions of this is right and this is wrong, and just listen for that's not having a problem. Because the truth is, this is your life right now. Not wrong, not broken, but right where you are, right where your community and world is. Because we're not separate. We're invited to be that greater expression. I just got sent a video clip by a friend of mine. And it was this man speaking of putting out a question to Chat GPT, just checking out what AI might know. And his question was, if Jesus and Buddha, Muhammad, and Gandhi were all together, what is the one thing they might agree upon? And the answer was forgiveness. Forgiveness. And he said, and what basis would they be speaking that? And Chat GPT said, on the basis of that we're always starting anew. This is such a prevalent understanding, our teaching. Life right now is turning into that longest night. And we know that that light's going to appear before us. Just from our human perspective here on this hemisphere, we're going to see more light. But we're not making that happen. But we are invited to look, where is forgiveness, or who or what needs to be forgiven in my heart? Where am I holding something between me and light in this world? Me and peace, me and the understanding that we are all included. And so that I want to leave you as your Christmas invitation, as the miracle of life celebrated in the Hanukkah, as the celebration that all of life is simply here turning in its own rhythm. And I invite you to join with me in prayer. As we know that eternal light is right here, never missing, never dampened in any way. It lives in and around all. It includes all. It holds all as one unfolding of life itself. This thing called by many names, beyond all human naming, it simply is. And is right here in this moment, animating each person, breathing every breath, seeing through all eyes, hearing through all ears, and unfolding through each and every one, each and every activity, each and every moment. I simply surrender into this moment. I surrender into this embrace of the one source, recognizing it is all that I am. Truly no separate self, separate from this one life being me, no separate self around me. Simply one life, truly present here. And so I know this as the truth of each and everyone hearing this word. It is the truth of each and every one in this human expression. Everything, everyone, every aspect of life, an integral part of this one, unfolding not separately but together. I recognize this. I open my conscious awareness to that greater vastness of being. That is the miracle of life. Right here, that beingness that is being each of us. Me here simply to align myself, to open and awaken myself, to surrender myself. Knowing it is that intelligence that lives and guides and unfolds through each and every one in my world, I simply align right here. I know that we are held, we are supported, but we are sustained by that is the very breather of our breath. In this moment, present fully. And so I allow the dark experience to be what it is, and I recognize that light ever present. That life, that one beingness, that one presence, always fully here. And I celebrate this. I bring myself into fuller recognition of this one life. And in gratitude for this call home in prayer itself, I simply surrender. I let go into that one source, knowing it is being all things. I let go. I let this be. And so it is. Amen.